And we have maxed out. We have maxed out, everybody. What is going on? What is going on? I want to welcome you now to the day one DCX free trial call. Everybody, drop some 777s in the chat box. If you're tuning in, drop some 777s in the chat box. If you're tuning in on the call, give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. We're going to open up the chat. Drop some 777s in the chat box. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in right now. Our last DCX free trial, I remember we hosted about a couple weeks ago. We had legitimately about, I would say, 20,000 people exposed over the span of just a couple days. And now we decided to open up another one for the new year to really reintroduce a new era that is occurring in our entire lifetime, guys. And honestly, when it comes to cryptocurrency, when it comes to DeFi, when it comes to the entire metaverse, I really look at, this period of time to be the most blessed time period to have ever existed in human history. You're talking about right now, massive gains and massive returns, not just in the crypto space, but in the NFT space and all these different types of things that we're going to be going over today. But real quick, to really take advantage of the most blessed time period to have ever existed, we want to make sure that we introduce you guys to some experts. But before we introduce you guys to the experts and the guys that are going to really be able to give you and lead you in the path of the right type of information, my biggest tip is to make sure everybody here is taking notes. Right? We always say, note takers are money makers. Notes are a visual representation of all your hard work. But more importantly, you're not going to remember a single thing that you actually, listen to. The only thing you're actually going to remember are the things that you write down. So my biggest tip and advice right now is make sure you have a sheet of paper. You can take out some notes. Okay, we maxed out the link at already 3,000 plus members. There's probably another 3,000 that weren't able to make it on the call. So today is your lucky day. You'll be able to share your notes with the people that weren't on the call. So take notes, pay attention, because this information, guys, changes situations. But more importantly, this type of information, guys, usually sells for thousands of dollars. To get these two individuals on the call today, guys, we had to pull some strings. It was something that, is not normally done. But we wanted to make sure that we rolled out the carpet for everybody to have the opportunity to learn and really gain that information that can change their entire life for 2022. So the first person we're going to bring up, he is the #1 educator in, he was actually the founder of the entire DCX platform for I Am Master Academy. He's somebody that thousands of people look up to. He educates tens of thousands of people all around the world, has impacted hundreds of thousands. And on top of that, guys, not just being able to provide people information, he's really legitimately shift people's entire perspective when it comes to how this revolution in the cryptocurrency space is going to take over. So I'm going to open up the chat box for everybody. Drop some 777s in the chat, for my mentor, somebody that hundreds of thousands of people learn from every single day, Mr. Crypto Picasso. Crypto Picasso, take it away for us. Brother, take it away.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, can you undo my camera? Let's see.
Oh yeah, I got you, man.
Let me share my screen.
Perfect. Good to go, bro.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, guys. Thank you for having me on this call. Forget, some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't. I go by Crypto Picasso. I've been trading cryptocurrencies since 2013. And let's just go over here and show the crypto chart right now. So we're gonna talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency tonight. What I really want you guys to remember on this call is that we like you guys just heard, we're living in probably one of the most blessed times to be able to take advantage of something like this. I'm going to explain that in a second, but I just want to tell my story a little bit. I'm the co-founder of DCX. I've been, within IM for about 4 years with the DCX Swipe Coin strategies. And when I found Bitcoin, I had already been trading. I'm going to pull up a weekly chart here for Bitcoin. Give me 1 sec. When I found Bitcoin, I had already been trading for a couple of years, but there was something that was missing in my trading. And when I found Bitcoin taught me a lesson, right? It taught me what I was doing wrong, and it taught me everything that I really need to know about trading. Because like I said, I've been trading for a couple of years. I had studied the charts. I had taught myself, how to trade stocks and futures and Forex and gold. And actually I was trading gold in 2013. And if we go back here to 2013, like if I just say to you, hey, I bought Bitcoin in 2013, you would say, oh, you're lucky. You heard about it early. But the reality is that everything moves in cycles. Okay. Right here is where I bought my first Bitcoin. When it crossed $1,000 in 2013, I had been trading gold and it was getting close to the price of gold. And I kind of just fell down that rabbit hole. Like, all right, what is this digital gold, this digital money, this digital asset? It's scarce. You can send it like an email, like all the different layers. At this point in time, Ethereum hadn't been made yet. So it's just basically like the idea of what blockchain technology would be. And then throughout the years, we've obviously, scaled out into smart contracts and different layers and different protocols within the cryptocurrency space. But the biggest thing to remember here is that when we're thinking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it is two things. It is a financial market, but it's also technology. And you have to be able to differentiate those two things as an investor and as a trader. Because you can come at this game with Bitcoin and just have exposure to it and just kind of like hold it or hodl it over the years. And Bitcoin has shown over the years that it has been, up 180% on average over the last 10 years. Now, what Bitcoin is doing here, though, is since it is a financial market, as it makes these waves of adoption, it's actually making these emotional cycles that happen in the market. So like I said, there was something that was missing in my trading when I found Bitcoin, and Bitcoin taught me exactly what it was. So here's where I bought my first Bitcoin. And like, I'll tell you straight up, like, if you're going to come at this and learn how to trade, you have to realize that, first of all, this is a game where the majority of people are losing, right? I'm not telling you that to scare you away from trading, but like to realize that there's an edge in that. Okay. You're really only going to be successful in trading if you realize where the loss is happening in the market, because that's what's happening the majority of the time for the majority of the participants. Okay. Now, there's strategies that we developed along the way based around that. But what I want to get to here is that here's where I bought my first Bitcoin. Now, when I bought my first Bitcoin here, like I said, I fell deep down the rabbit hole and realized that this technology was revolutionary. It was disruptive. It was definitely going to be the future. But I bought obviously at the wrong time right here. Now, when I bought, though, I felt like a genius, like I discovered something new. I was going to be rich. This was the one trade that was going to change my life. And I bought here during a euphoric state of the market. Okay. Now, about this point in time right over here, after over the course of the next year and a half, I watched the price of Bitcoin go from about $1,100 down to $166. Now, during that course of time, this chart showed up across my desk somehow. I think I saw it on Twitter. And I ignored it at first because it's called the Wall Street cheat sheet. And at this time, I hadn't been trading stocks anymore. Once I found Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I never went back to the traditional markets because they just aren't as volatile. That's another thing here when we're talking about trading crypto. What makes it appealing is that these are new markets that go through price discovery that have, it's not uncommon to see a cryptocurrency coin go 2,000-3,000%. And Bitcoin has gone up hundreds of thousands % since it was first created. And we're actually coming on 13 years, I think it was yesterday, since its creation. Now, when I bought my first Bitcoin, it was here during Thrill. Wanted to tell everybody about it, this new technology discovered. It went up more, just a little bit more. I bought like 1,012 and then it went to like 1,112 or something. And it was up $100. I felt like a genius. And then I watched the price go all the way down to $166. Now, at first I ignored this chart. And then I realized as I watched these emotions play out in the market and as I felt these emotions, that this was the key to the market. So I started studying and looking throughout markets and, different everything from corn and wheat and oil, NASDAQ, different tech companies, gold, silver, different cryptocurrency pairs. You will see this structure in the market everywhere, in every time frame. It doesn't matter if it's a 5-minute chart or a monthly chart. And it doesn't matter if it's a commodity or a Forex pair. or if it's from the 1930s or the 1970s or the 2000s, it doesn't matter. We see the same structure in the market. So I started thinking about it like, all right, well, what was missing in my trading? Like, what did I do wrong when I bought Bitcoin? Like, obviously I got into something early in the bigger picture, right? But my entry into the market was at the wrong time. So what was learned in that whole process was that this is the cycle that exists everywhere in the market. If you kind of think about the financial markets like water running, like a tide, like an ocean moving in and out, this would be the tide of the market. You can't fight it, you can't resist it. You have to go with the tide. And you have to realize that at every stage of the market, it is the emotions of the traders that are pushing it to those levels and to create those patterns. So when we dig through the charts and we see these these candlestick patterns in the chart, what we're really looking at is the print left behind by the emotions of the traders. And I realized that it doesn't matter what time frame, what year, what market, it doesn't matter. The one thing consistent in every market is the emotions of humans. And that is, there's predictability in that. And so if we realize that is going on in the markets, and then we realize statistically, if you look it up, 70 to 75% of people are losing all the time in financial markets. So I started putting it together and realized, well, this is how they're losing. This is why they're losing. This is why I was losing, because I was making emotional responses to the market. Okay. Now, this is what the majority are doing. This is the psychology of the market. The reality is that you need to buy the fear and sell the greed. But when the market gets greedy, you have a hard time letting go. You don't want to take profits. You want to buy more. And when the market's down here, usually you didn't take profits and you're underwater most of the time, or at a place where you wouldn't be thinking about buying into that fear because you're feeling fear yourself. So this is the tide that runs the markets. And Bitcoin's no different. So Bitcoin is a financial market, but it's also technology. So we have to remember what makes Bitcoin unique. This is where it gets fun when you're talking about trading Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, is that what makes Bitcoin unique is that it is a combination of both of these things, okay? When we look at Bitcoin in the linear scale, right, which is just the normal scale that you would look at any chart or any graph. Let me go here. This is BLX, right? So if I look here, I can see that since 2011, Bitcoin has been making these large cycles of euphoria all the way back down to anger and depression. Again, in 2013, all the way up to euphoria, back down to anger and depression. This is where I bought euphoria here. And then realizing this, obviously I invested heavily into Bitcoin over here at like 300 and have been, riding these cycles ever since. And then what did we do in 2017? We created again the emotional cycle. And what are we doing now? We are creating a larger structure for another emotional cycle playing out. I believe that in the cycle that we are about here at these lower points where it looks like it wants to break down, everybody's kind of losing hope. But then if we get it back above 60, it starts to look optimistic real quick. And the market could just, go into some stupid, belief throwing euphoria. If you can take one thing home from this session, just realize that if the market does go crazy and go into the multiple six figures in the next 6 months or so, that's probably not sustainable at those prices. It'll most likely go up to some crazy higher levels and then come back down and run the emotional cycle all over again. So you have to realize when you're trading the markets, the number one thing is that you got to know what the emotional state of the market is when you're trading it, because that's kind of like defining the environment or like the weather of the market that you're trading in. Okay, so like the emotional state of the market is going to define everything. The trend, the way the crowd or the majority of the market participants are feeling. So in that, we have to realize that Bitcoin in the linear scale is creating these emotional cycles every time it goes through these waves of adoption. But Bitcoin is still a technology and it's limited supply. So when we look at Bitcoin in the logarithmic graph, okay, well, let's go back to linear real quick. One more thing about the linear scale. When we look at the Bitcoin in linear scale, there's no relationship to what it's doing now to what it did way back in 2011 and 2013. 2011 and 2013 have just turned into just like flat lines or just little bumps on the chart. So there's no like relationship in price. You just see what's happening here and you see these highs. But when we look at Bitcoin in the logarithmic scale, all right, we can see everything that Bitcoin has done since its inception 13 years ago. Now, it used to be a penny. Now Bitcoin's pushing towards 50 grand again. Now, why, right? Why does Bitcoin keep going up in price? Like, doesn't it, it would make sense for it to go down, maybe some people would say. But we have to realize what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is a financial market that is defined by the rules and the tide of the market, sure, but it's also a technology that's becoming adopted, and it's a limited supply technology. And as the technology becomes adopted and grows in usage, there's only so many access keys, right, or coins to access the network. So we have a unique combination that has never existed before. Bitcoin is a technology that is that is disrupting and becoming adopted, and a network that is growing, and there's limited access to that through the Bitcoin token. So we have a situation that's never been before, right? When we look at this chart right here, this is what we call the adoption of technology, right? These are called S curves. This is basically the adoption of any of these technologies here that completely changed our life, right? There was a point where there was nobody using it, and then it's completely saturated with 100% usage, or the majority of usage, right? Bitcoin is no different. It's a technology that's becoming adopted in the logarithmic scale, right? But as it grows in its volatility, right, and as it makes these, waves up and waves down and waves up and waves down, those are emotional cycles that play out that people lose, gain and lose fortunes over, because the market goes, like thousands of percent and then pulls back 80, 90% after it's done. So, and in doing so, every single time, it's creating this cycle, right? It's creating this cycle. This is the tide that is running the market every single time. So we have a unique situation here. We have, every single one of these technologies, they weren't limited in supply, and you couldn't own a piece of them. You could like trade some stocks that had to do with telecom or, internet companies, but your investment depended on the success of those companies, not on the underlying technology itself. We couldn't own a piece of microwave technology or internet technology, right? Or smartphone technology. We can own a piece of Bitcoin technology. We're living in a very disruptive and kind of like a time right now that is full of more opportunity than I think a lot of people are aware of, because we're living in probably the biggest transfer of wealth since the Industrial Revolution, where there was a new industry and there was new ways to make money in that industry, and different things and different facets like that you could, make money within that industry, within exposure to the industry and understanding that industry. That's nothing different here. Like with cryptocurrency, this is a whole new industry. It is a digital revolution that's happening, and we're seeing the spread of the usage of cryptocurrency happening very fast. So every single one of these cryptocurrency coins that comes out, it's unique than anything that's ever been traded before, because we have a technology and a network that is growing. It's limited supply, but it's also creating the emotional cycle that all markets create. Okay. So when we're thinking about Bitcoin as an investment, you have to think about like and zoom out and kind of like forget about the volatility, and try to hang on to the top of the cycle and realize that there will be a bear market or a better time to buy back. But this is only every couple of so many years. For the bigger picture, a lot of people are just holding on, because if Bitcoin really does what it could do, remember, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's right now is maybe like $1 trillion market cap, if this thing got this, there's hundreds of trillions of dollars in the bond market and real estate market and global money markets that's sitting on the side that is not in the Bitcoin market yet. So if Bitcoin's market cap expands over the next 5 to 10 years to hundreds of trillions of dollars, just do the math. I mean, the price would be, 10 to 100 times what it currently is, because they're not printing more Bitcoin. That's the biggest thing. And that's kind of the reason why I do all this, is that Bitcoin solves a problem. The system itself is broke, and there's not a lot of opportunities in the traditional ways that people go to school to learn, crafts and different things. Um, and then the money that you're making in a sense too is losing its value every year through inflation. So there has to be some sort of a lifeboat, right? If you knew about a lifeboat, and like if you saw the whole world as a sinking ship, right? You knew about a lifeboat, you would try to tell people about the lifeboat, right? So that's the kind of seriousness of this, that Bitcoin's probably the only way that you can really hold on to wealth throughout time. All right, you have to kind of research that to kind of get deeper into it, but it is a technology underlying that is what is really making this whole thing happen. And the disruptiveness of that technology is opening up the door to other types of cryptocurrency coins, smart programs, decentralization of trust things. Like our entire society is built on trust mechanisms where we look to third parties that could manipulate data. We put trust in third party systems. We don't need to do that eventually through blockchain systems and smart contracts. So it's a very disruptive time that we're living in. And like I said, I believe it's one of the biggest transfers of wealth since the Industrial Revolution. I've been in the crypto space since 2013, and especially even now. I mean, I've known for a long time that this is a space where you can really take advantage of those opportunities and like really make some life-changing moves. But now more than ever, through all the different avenues that have opened up with DeFi and NFTs and all sorts of things, like now more than ever is a time to just manifest like something of complete nothingness within the crypto space, whether it's through art or through some sort of DeFi plays or just simple exposure to the markets itself. So yeah, now's the time like to really pay attention, because crypto's, it's for a long time people dismissed it, but now it's going to be completely relevant in everybody's life every day. So the fun part about this is in all this volatility, right? Let's go down to some lower time frame stuff here real quick. So this chart here. All right, in the lower time frame stuff, as Bitcoin's making this journey of adoption, it's making waves, right? We're making waves up and waves down. Now, Bitcoin's different. Like most financial markets, when you trade them, especially on leverage, you don't really catch huge moves, because Forex, gold, stocks, most of them, they trade within ranges. They don't really always go through price discovery. Sometimes you'll get a breakout, some certain markets and stuff. Some rarities were like, some foreign exchange pair will just go crazy because some foreign economy is collapsing or something. The dollar would go crazy against there. But overall, most of the traditional markets trade within ranges, right? There's only a certain amount of profitability to those markets. Crypto's a little different. Bitcoin nothing has ever gone up as much in price ever as much as Bitcoin and Ethereum have. Every dollar that Bitcoin moves in the leveraged environment is a pip. So kind of think of it like this, like I used to trade Forex, and if you trade in Forex, you're kind of looking for like maybe a 150 pip move, maybe, but majority like scalping and doing stuff like that, just quick little day trades, you're looking for like 20 to 50 pip moves, maybe 100 to 200 max. That's because Forex trades in those ranges, right? You're just trying to catch the move from point A to point B, and there's not much room that it grows in those 2 points. Bitcoin's completely different, and these cryptocurrency pairs are completely different. These are extremely volatile pairs. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, that means you can get wrecked quick. But if you know what you're doing and have strategies that work, that means you can harness that volatility in a way where it's extremely beneficial to trade these markets over other markets, right? Because if I'm going to look in the market for a day trade on Bitcoin, I can find sometimes 500 to thousands of pips moves or $1,000 moves, like every dollar Bitcoin moves. But the point being is that the moves that the market are making are at least 20 to 50 times bigger than the traditional markets. And that really starting to draw investors in as day traders, because, this is a technology that more and more traditional people are investing in, but people are also realizing that these are the markets to trade for, you know, the intraday volatility. So within DCX, you know, we put together a team. First, it was just me, Nick, a couple other people, but we put together a whole team of educators now, different strategies to really explore all the different ways, right? To really keep everybody up to date with all the different paths within cryptocurrency that you can really, you know, take advantage of these markets. I'll break it down a little bit, and then I'll pass it on to Nick, who will get a little bit more into to some also some different strategies. But I just want to go through the platform real quick and just show you guys. Here we have a couple different strategies here. So the original one, this is just kind of like, and this is where it's kind of funny that we call it the scalper, because a lot of people will think scalp is a 20 pip move, you know, thinking in the traditional market mind. But this is like scalper to us because we're like taking the moves in the smaller time frames, because that's kind of like the way you would scalp the market, just a couple hours a scalp or day trade. But something like this, I mean, look at this sell. Like, this is like 1,150 pips in, you know, just a little over a day. I mean, even if it's the quick scalp move itself was over 600 pips. So we have a couple strategies going here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some alt plays as well that are really just looking for the spots and where the market is really breaking with the volatility. Whether it's up, whether it's down, it doesn't matter. There's opportunity there. Now, this one's just kind of running 24 hours a day, you know, wherever the market's going to do some breakouts. This one here, the smooth, this is my my personal ideas that I put on here. Like for instance, like I'm looking potentially if Bitcoin wants to break this entire range that we've been trading in here for since the sell-off, more or less all this. If it wants to break these lows, I'll be looking for a sweep, what we call a sweep of these lows, those lows to get taken out, and then a bounce, something like that. Because I believe that Bitcoin is going to continue its uptrend. I think this is just all a big shakeout right here. All right, so we have a couple things here, different strategies. I'll let these guys explain a little bit more about AltFi later on in the week. Make you guys come on to the next call, find out some more about that. But my favorite part about all this actually is jumping on these calls and jumping on these sessions. We have Go Live. We'll talk about that in a second. We also have these different leverage and exchange ideas that are coming from our different educators, whether it's altcoins or Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP. This is more like where we're looking about, you know, leveraged ideas, whether it's, you know, we can't recommend you a broker, but obviously you can trade these pairs anywhere now, whether it's a platform, MetaTrader 4, it doesn't matter. This is, you know, where we're looking at those kind of ideas. And the exchange ideas would be more like altcoins, no leverage, you know, looking for the altcoin that has a good market cap, that's looking to make a nice move. Whole training here with the video sections. We got some games in there. Some people play some time just for some fun. But my favorite part really would be the Go Live sessions, right? We put together a whole DCX team here where, in a few different languages as well. We have a whole roster here. I'm actually really proud of these guys with DCX AltFi who have made it onto the top slot here. So give these guys some sevens in the chat for that. These guys have definitely been kicking it off. But yeah, this is where we have, it's like basically like, consider it like Netflix where you actually put your time productively, right? If you're gonna sit there and binge watch a season and learn nothing, come here and like watch some of these favorite sessions of our educators and actually learn a craft. Because I can tell you that my biggest thing that I like to give back is that when I figured out how to actually trade and not just throw my money into the market emotionally, something clicked. And when I realized that it was with Bitcoin, and how, like, because I'm a big believer in Bitcoin technology and how disruptive it is and how it really is the future and how it's going to solve a lot of things that are broken in the system. And we're starting to see that already. Now, when you combine those two things, like me realizing like, wow, I actually figured out how to manifest the lifestyle I want and just pull money out of thin air by understanding how to read the graph. And I'm doing that with the most disruptive asset class that's ever existed in humanity. And now's the time for us to actually take advantage of these opportunities, because once we hit mass adoption, the idea of owning one Bitcoin will be absurd. Like, people will be thinking in Satoshis, in the fractionalized version of Bitcoin. So But yeah, this is where I like to come and teach these lessons, teach what I've learned along the way. The biggest thing about trading is to realize that this is geared towards loss for the majority. Once you realize that, you have to realize how not to be the statistic, right? How to win in the market, you have to understand and study where the loss is happening. So that's how I did it, right? I lost, and said, wow, all right, this is how I'm losing. This is why I'm losing. And then started to develop strategies around that. Now, you can only do that by experiencing yourself the actual loss, or by actually taking it seriously when I say, this is the tide that runs all markets, all right? There's always gonna be a point of maximum financial risk, always a point of maximum financial opportunity. How you let your emotions affect your decision at that point in time in the market is what's really gonna make you as a trader, all right? So I look forward to seeing you guys on Go Live, on DCX, on SwipeCoin. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen and pass this over to Nick, who he should be coming on here in a second. You there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Awesome, man. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, likewise, bro. Happy New Year. So yeah, if you could just make me host, I'll just kick this off.
Yeah. You're the co-host now, it says.
Okay, cool. All right, how we doing, everybody? If we could open up that chat box, I know we got John in the back end, and folks, let's put some 888s for Crypto Picasso. I hope you guys really got a huge high-level overview of what BTC is, where its adoption is headed. If you guys don't know who he is, folks, he is a well-renowned Bitcoin trader, very, very famous around the world. So it's really exciting that you guys got to actually hear from him, his projections of where BTC is going. And for those of you that are here on this call and, you want to learn a little bit more about how to take advantage of crypto, because I'm sure you've been seeing all around the web. I mean, whether it's NFTs, decentralized finance, which is DeFi, maybe you've been hearing about the metaverse. How do you take advantage of all of these different platforms? How do you even get, educated? Where do you start? These are all questions that I'm sure right now you're probably asking yourself. And I want to make it really, really simple for you guys to understand a little bit more of all these different cryptocurrencies, folks, because there's almost 16,000 different coins. And I'm just going to share my screen really quickly, make it super simple for y'all now that you guys got a really in-depth Bitcoin breakdown. But folks, there's almost 16,000 different cryptocurrencies. And the question is always like, which one do we get involved with? Well, we not only teach you how to get involved in these markets and potentially create a portfolio, but like Picasso was sharing, you could actually trade these pairs. Whether the market goes up or the market goes down, you could be potentially trading these pairs and these markets and making money no matter where the direction of the market goes. And what I want to share with you guys really, really quickly is all the opportunity that there is. Picasso shared with us, the opportunity of where we currently are in the market, and that Bitcoin could easily be potentially $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a single coin. If you haven't heard, and maybe you just haven't been paying attention a lot to cryptocurrency, folks, it's getting adopted in companies. There's countries now that are marking it as legal tender, like El Salvador. There's literally countries that are slowly naming it, right now working with legislation to actually name Bitcoin a legal tender and other cryptocurrencies around the world. So not only are countries, corporations, but even hedge funds around the world taking advantage and utilizing what cryptocurrency is. And I want to just give you a quick little breakdown of all the opportunities and all the markets that there are. This is a quick little slide that I wanted to share with you guys, because maybe you think, oh, you know what? I'm late to Bitcoin. I wasn't like Picasso or Nick or anybody that maybe you've heard that got into Bitcoin when it was $1,000 or $10,000 or a couple $100. But I want you to understand there's opportunity. Like Picasso shared, maybe you've been hearing about the NFT craze or DeFi or some of these meme coins or even the metaverse. There are so much opportunity. The cryptocurrency is so diverse. There's literally something for everybody. And these markets are emerging. Maybe you've been hearing recently about Facebook changing their name to Meta and launching, these Oculus, headsets. I actually have one right here where you could literally jump into this augmented world where a lot of these metaverses actually have a cryptocurrency token behind them. So if you're late or you feel like you're late to Bitcoin, which you're still not, because out of all the hundreds of countries that are in the world, only one has adopted Bitcoin, which we're still very early for BTC. There's so much opportunity in so many of these different projects in these different categories. So what is it that we do with DCX to really give you guys a full-blown breakdown on how you could take advantage of the education? You know, I believe getting involved with the correct information, the correct community, and mentorship is super key in having success in anything. You know, personally, for example, if you've been in any profession, if you've had, you know, if you've been good at any sport or a hobby, you probably had somebody tell you what to do and what not to do, how to do it correctly, the correct strategy. And that's what we do here. With DCX and Swipecoin, we have a full-blown platform online where you're going to have an academy here with I Am Master Academy. And this is the DCX side. So this is the crypto side. And not only are you going to have a website, you're also going to have an application. And how we break this all down for you is you're going to have ideas or trade ideas sent by educators that are going to be letting you know when to get involved in positions in Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, when to get involved. For example, let's look at here. This was a position that Danny recently sent. These are ideas. You could potentially enter them or not, and letting you know when to buy, when to sell, at what price, what to risk, the potential profit in these positions, and of course, exchange ideas. And throughout these days that you're going to be hearing a lot of these different educators, they're going to be sharing with you how you could add to your portfolio and certain projects. Like, for example, I like to always compare what cryptocurrency is nowadays to when, you know, the stock era or the blue chip stocks started to come out in 1993, 1994, 1995. Like, imagine being able to invest in these companies that are now the Walmarts, the eBays, you know, the Home Depots, the big projects that exploded and are now massive corporations and companies. Well, we, with our team, like you saw, a whole roster of educators are looking and ciphering through the 16,000 different cryptocurrencies and showing you which one really do have potential. But on top of that, you guys have an academy. So let's say you really, honestly, after everything you're hearing right now, you're not understanding everything. Maybe you're a little bit intimidated at looking at a chart, and trust me, so was I the first time when I saw some of these numbers. I thought you needed to be good at math, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You actually don't. Cryptocurrency and just trading and investing overall is just understanding, just breaking down these charts is all through just what we break down here in the academy. So through these videos, you'll get an understanding of what these graphs are, what these little bars represent, how to start building a strategy, how to learn some of the strategies from these experts. And it all ties in from these videos. It all goes into what is called our Go Live platform that actually Picasso just shared. So you have all of these amazing educators that are going to be going live every single day of the week, just like we're doing right now. We're on a live call, and we're going to be sharing our strategies. We're going to be going over different parts of the market strategies, whether it's looking at certain pairs, whether it's investing or potentially looking at some of these trading ideas in the market, and even getting an idea of all of these different platforms that are currently happening right now. We actually have, for example, Sean, one of our educators live, and he uses a lot of what we call, which is the Swipecoin scalper. So Picasso covered it briefly, but you have all of these tools and resources to actually break the market down. And we really believe that we have something for everybody. Let's say you're really into art, there's something for you. If you're really into trading really quickly, there's something for you. If you've always wanted to build a portfolio but don't know which projects to get involved with, we have something for you. It's so diverse in so many different languages and in so many different entry levels for people to get educated, whether it's you're a novice or you're an intermediate, you know, or maybe you're even advanced. You could always sharpen that axe and learn from people that have the results that you want. And that's what we have here with DCX. So this is actually one of our tools that we have. It's called the Swipecoin scalper. And we teach you how to utilize a lot of these strategies. So for example, just really quickly, just to cover a couple of the last positions that it's sent, you could see really quickly here with BTC USD, our scalper following its three-step rule. This was the last buy position that was potentially sent on the actual strategy here on the website. And as you can see from where it says buy, following the three rules, you would have actually potentially netted a profit here in this position. Now, same thing goes with the sell. If you would have potentially entered this trade idea and follow the 3 steps on your own, decision, of course, you would have then profited on this position here down south. So as the market called the sell here on the strategy, you could see what happened here with the market. The market actually, of course, dropped. And like Picasso was sharing earlier, every point or every dollar that the market either goes up or down and it's in favor of the position that you're deciding to enter, then of course you're generating, X amount of profit. So that's what's really exciting, because in cryptocurrency, it's a market, folks, that's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's not closed on holidays. It's not closed when banks are. It doesn't matter if it's New Year's or Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving. By the way, Happy New Year's. But it's a market that's always flowing. So there's always opportunities, not closed on weekends either. So there's always opportunity to trade these markets. And with everything that we've put together here with DCX, it gives you that opportunity to do so. So I'm really excited for all of y'all to be able to go through this entire DCX free trial. You're going to meet incredible educators that have a lot of expertise in their field. And throughout the days, you're going to be learning something new about some of the strategies and products that we have. So you can yourself, see, hey, this is the tool that I want to use, or hey, I really want to go through this academy because it's going to teach me everything about Bitcoin. Or maybe you've heard of Ethereum so much, and you finally want to get involved and really see what it is. I could tell you, cryptocurrency it's so early. We were just on a call. We had a lot of people on, sharing the Oculus and the metaverse and how this augmented reality is, tying into cryptocurrency. And the world is so early into what this market really is. And that's just opportunity. I believe through all these mentors that we've had and all the people that you're going to have access to, the world leaves clues, and you're starting to see really, really big corporations, countries, and people invest billions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars into this cryptocurrency infrastructure and phase. So you should start to really peek and take a look at what this market is all about, so you can start learning about all it is, all its technology, how to take advantage of the charts, and how to take advantage of all of these different categories that maybe to you right now are a little confusing, or a little bit of information about, but I'm telling you, it's going to all make sense as you go throughout this free trial. So I wanted to keep it short, folks. I'm going to throw it back to our host, John, so he could wrap it up and break it down all to you. So guys, it was an absolute pleasure. Wishing everybody a happy new year, and really, really excited to meet every single one of you guys in all our calls and our team calls and our Go Live. So John, I'm gonna pass it back to you, my man, and we'll wrap up the call right after.
Yeah, appreciate it, Nick. Guys, drop some 777s in the chat box for Crypto Picasso and Nick for taking it away and honestly hosting an incredible day one call for the entire group, and for everybody that's been tuning in from all over the world. We're grateful for you, Nick. Grateful for you, Crypto Picasso. And one beautiful thing that Nick was actually going over specifically, he was kind of saying how important mentorship is really key to having long-lasting success. At the end of the day, guys, I don't know if you've ever heard of the 80-20 rule before, but whether we're talking about real estate, whether we're talking about college, whether we're talking about affiliate marketing, online marketing, or even trading, the 80-20 rule states that more than 80% of people won't necessarily have massive results in anything that they do. And only 20% of people will actually have a ton of success. And that 80-20 rule is in almost every single industry. And, a lot of times people always ask the question, well, what makes certain people successful and certain people not successful with certain different types of businesses or certain different types of industries? And it boils back down into the 80-20 rule, right? It boils back down to, obviously, I think most people don't have the head or the heart for success, but it's really the tools, the education, and the mentorship. And I remember when I first got involved with the entire DCX Academy, the beautiful part about everything was we had the proper tools, we had the proper strategies, and we had the proper systems to really be able to help me learn and not really become another statistic with the entire team. So guys, to get involved with the DCX Academy today, it's only $235, $325 to get started. It's not going to cost an arm or a leg. So the beautiful part about getting involved with it is you're going to have that online mentorship. You're going to have the different strategies. You're going to have the ability to tune in to something that is going to give you a step-by-step guide. So that way you don't just become another statistic, but you become somebody that is on your path to massive success. So if you want to get access to everything, go back to the person who actually got you on this entire call today and actually thank them, number one. But number two, let them get you jump started with the entire program. So that way you can tune into day two. And we actually have a go live session that's about to go live in just 10 minutes. So if you want more information behind this, go back to the person who personally brought you on and tell them, hey, I'm ready to go. And I'll see you guys on day two tomorrow. Thank y'all. And I want to welcome you to the DCX Academy. Peace.